Hello and welcome to On the Bench, the fortnightly podcast for scale modelers by scale modelers. Available on iTunes, Stitcher, and all good podcast apps. While you're there, don't forget to mark us as your favourite so that you never miss a show. Coming up in this episode, we've got Chris Dowsett back, who's going to help us have a chat about the future of modelling and what it's going to look like in the coming years. Also, we have our regular segment on What's New. But before we launch into that, a big thank you to the ongoing support from Brett Green at Hyperscale. Hyperscale is an online resource for modelers and can be found at www.hyperscale.com. They have a What's New section, discussion forums, articles and galleries, reviews and references, and is a fantastic reference for modelers. So a big thank you for your ongoing support. And you can help us help them by just popping along and having a look. Also a huge thank you to the ongoing support from those of you who are joining us as a Patreon supporter. If you want to help this show continue, please drop in and have a look at www.patreon.com/onthebench and consider a small donation. $1 a month. That'll help just keep the show ticking along nicely. So let's get on with the show and find out what the boys have to say about the future of modelling. And hello and welcome to everybody. And in the studio tonight we've got Ian. G'day Ian.
G'day Dave. G'day listeners.
And Julian.
Hello.
And back again from the last episode we've got Chris Dowsett.
Hello everybody.
Chris is back. We didn't get a chance to finish off talking about the subject that we were planning to talk about last episode, which was the future of modelling. So we'll get into that later on. But in the meantime, guys, what have you been doing since the last episode? I'll start with you, Ian.
Well, I finally got all the construction done on my little 12-metre motorboats for the INJ Shikaku aircraft carrier.
How long did that take you to do?
Spent pretty much the whole weekend, last weekend on it.
A lot of intricate photo etch.
Yeah, doing those tiny little cabins. Yeah, they were a load of fun.
Yeah.
Got the practice guns done and made a start on the anti-aircraft guns.
Awesome.
So it's motoring along nicely.
Julian?
So I've been continuing working on these little Warhammer Orc killer cans that I've now painted
in pink.
In the bright fluorescent pink. Cool. It's the most eye-gouging pink. And it's so eye-gouging, in fact, that I as a secondary colour, I was planning to use purple.
Yep.
And the purple, after I painted it on it, just looked black. It was so dark because the pink is so bright.
You need lime green.
Lime green?
Lime green or a fluorescent green.
I can't. It's not supposed to look like, Lycra from the 80s.
Yeah.
Like bike shorts or
something.
something.
So I was thinking, orcs on their bicycles.
Now, talking about orcs, if they're red, they go faster. If they're pink, what happens?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. It's just a thing I'm making for a friend. He wanted pink because when we used to play like a video game that had all these Warhammer armies in them, and he would always pick orcs, and he'd always pick bright pink.
What about, do you get to use your new airbrush that you had to sell the rights to your firstborn for to purchase it?
No, I still haven't used that, but I will be using it soon, hopefully. Yeah.
Oh, we're looking forward to a report on that.
Yeah.
You get and use it.
Yeah, well, it'll be fun. Yeah.
Chris, what have you been up to since last episode?
Okay. I'm repairing an old kit that I built quite a few years ago. It's a 48 scale Mistel, Dragon one.
Yeah.
After a number of moves, it's been a little bit damaged. And the Focke-Wulf that sits on top of it, because it's a Focke-Wulf JU88 Mistel, the old Dragon kit, the Focke-Wulf does come apart, but because it's been moved around a bit, it's been damaged. So I'm just sort of fixing it up. But also, for some reason, the rear tail started to split in the seam, but really separate.
Oh, wow.
So some unusual stuff there. So I had to grind that out, push it in together with a clamp, glue it, and then fix up the paint. So I'm using my $40 airbrush to do the remodeling on that thing right now.
So you keep saying $40 airbrush as if you're trying to shame me for buying like a $400 airbrush. It's not going to work because I like expensive things.
Clearly.
Well, they look the same. They do. They're both silver. They've got triggers.
But yours is a shiny silver. Mine's more like a matte silver.
And,
Got like a matte.
they both produced atomized paint coming out the other end.
Yeah.
That they do.
Oh.
But that Mistel, I always like the big stuff up that Dragon done with the Mistel. When you see the box of it, on the Focke-Wulf 190, it's got 45-degree upward-facing guns.
Oh, we spoke about this a couple of episodes ago. Yes, that's right.
And, which would put the breaches through the pilot's legs.
Yeah.
Which was actually where they got it off was a photo of the thing on the ground, and it was a ladder.
Actually, the matter of fact, with the aircraft, it has a little fuel oil tank, an extra oil tank, because the engine's under so much strain when it's flying. They have a little fuel tank in that spot, so it has the guns removed. So once the aircraft separates from the Mistel itself and it's done hit its target, the Focke-Wulf just gets out of there as quick smart. They're not a fighter. They're flown by bombers. Bomber pilots, and they just get out of there as quick as they can. So they're not hanging around. So they remove the guns.
Yep.
And where the cow guns are positioned, that's where the sort of oil tank goes. So what I've done with my kit is I've actually opened that section up to expose that area and scratch built a little oil tank for it.
Cool. I don't know much about their operational use. Were they very effective? Were they actually used in anger?
They used them once or twice against. I think once they took out a bridge when they were fighting against the Russians.
They were used quite a few times, actually.
Yep.
Quite a few times, yes. Again, they were used against shipping, bridges, and various other.
So how do they guide them in? So once the Focke-Wulf separated from the Ju-88, how did they guide the Ju-88?
It just went.
They pretty much aimed it because they're usually going after large targets.
Yep.
Like ships and bridges. And the thing about this, the Mistel was it was the first aircraft operational with fly-by-wire technology. So what we've got nowadays. So basically, they had the fly-by-wire technology for the connections going from the Focke-Wulf going down to the Ju-88, and if you look at the joystick on the on the Focke-Wulf, it's got an extra part sort of attached to it, just like taped to it or attached to it. So when the pilot moves the joystick of the aircraft, it then transfers down through the joystick into the Ju-88. So it's fly-by-wire. They aim it, I dare say, with the gun aimer, and just separate, and this thing flies in with autopilot, basically.
Well, I imagine against a ship target, unless you release it very close, it would be highly unlikely to hit the target because ships move quite rapidly.
Yeah, well, that's right. But they usually
against a bridge, I could probably understand.
But they probably wait till it's in harbour or somewhere.
Yeah.
But it acts like the ones they used against the ships had the pointed nose.
Yes.
And they worked like the
delayed fuse.
Yeah, the delayed fuse, and it was molten metal that went into the ship. So if one hit a ship,
shape charge, in other words.
That's it. Yeah, like the Panzer fist.
Yeah. Well, you learn something every day.
Yes. So what have you been building on, Dave?
I'm calling my USS Benson complete. Even though there's still a little bit of photo wedge just had on.
That's not complete.
There was silence then.
That's not complete.
The thing is, we're sort of doing something out of the future here. So we're actually recording this session early, which is going to be dropped in a week's time because I'm actually going to be away travelling overseas. In fact, when this episode gets dropped, I should be in Toronto. And before we get... Before I head off, I plan to sort of finish it off. So technically it'll be finished by the time this episode. So I'm calling it done. How's that?
I'll hold you to that, Dave.
All right, no worries. Having said that, I'll probably get nothing done now between now and when I fly out on Thursday.
Well, you got 2 days.
Yeah, but I'll lose Thursday because it's packing. Not that I take that long to pack, but I've got to double check what the missus is putting in so she's not putting in too much luggage and
don't
going
go
overweight. Yeah.
Yep.
You're a bloke. Don't you just put some sandals and a T-shirt in?
I do, but you haven't seen Michelle when she goes away on the weekend. It's 2 suitcases. She's going away for 3 weeks. So, oh my God. I said, you can buy stuff in the overseas. Oh, no, but I've got to wear this. Oh. Anywho.
Yes.
So yeah, that's all I've been doing. So I think what we'll do is we'll leave it there. We'll have a quick look at some listener mail that we've had in. And I might as well just roll straight into that, as a matter of fact. So first of all, I've got on Facebook page, Phil Morgan wrote, another great episode, guys. Thanks. Ian again mentioned that he uses Excel spreadsheet to keep inventory of his stash. Certainly one way of doing it. But have you guys looked at using the ScaleMates database? It's 100% free, super easy to use, and you can manage all your kits, aftermarket gear, even paints. It's all in the cloud, so if your PC crashes, you've lost nothing. And you can even group your stash into projects you want to work on. So if you play around with it for an hour, you'll see there's a ton of other features too. Takes a little inputting to set it up initially, but then you're golden. Just a tip there from Phil. And
Well done, Phil.
That
great.
database can be found at www.scalemates.com.
Groovy.
Have you used that, Ian, or you thought it? You used Excel?
I've got my Excel, so I don't need it. And I always keep a copy on a USB anyway, so if my computer crashes, I've still got a copy.
Well, see, I mean, I wonder how long that service has been running compared to how long you've been keeping your Excel spreadsheet going.
Well, it's been many years with that Excel spreadsheet.
And I'm sure there's another similar sort of program running around as well that you can use as well. I can't think of the guy's name. He was advertising it. It'll come to me later on.
I really love that ScaleMates website. It's just excellent for just researching kits and so forth. It's just amazing. It really is.
Yep, I agree.
Travis Thompson writes in. He says, new listener and enjoying the show. I had an idea while listening for smaller display case with a bit of style using old Army surplus ammo boxes. He's talking about the wooden ones that the 105mm artillery rounds come in. With some perspex or glass lid for displaying, it would be really good for displaying tanks. You could put some legs on it, or even stencil it up as a box of German 88mm rounds.
Cool.
I like the way he's thinking. I reckon that's pretty cool. So you're almost making a model heavy display case.
Yeah, put it on its side with the lid facing towards you and put your kit in there. Couple little lights, you're laughing.
Yeah, well done. You can even do it like a travelling case, actually, if you structured the inside correctly. Yeah. And I've seen people do that when they're travelling. They'll make up a wooden box, a proper wooden box, and they'll have their kit sort of nestled in there and sort of screwed down with, well, not screwed down, wedged in with specially cut pieces of foam in it for transportation.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be good. An old ammo box. Take it overseas. Have explosives written on the side. Danger. I'm sure customers just love that.
Yeah. Kevin Footer wrote in. Kevin, I got your name right this time, so please don't send me another email. He said, just listening to our last show, can't believe you guys haven't heard of Silver Wings.
I did.
They've been around for some years and specialise in resin kits of between the war subjects in 1/32 scale. The Yak 9 that they're doing is their first venture into World War II aircraft and is also a resin kit, which we didn't pick up when I think we were looking at the review last time. So hopefully we'll have a review of it on LSP not before too long. There you go, Kev. Cool. Excellent.
Good one.
So if you'd like to drop us a comment, you can either go to our Facebook page, which is just type in On The Bench into Facebook search, or you can drop us an email at onthebench64@gmail.com.
You are already in holiday mode, aren't you, Dave?
I'm sitting here with my beer and I'm already there. All right. What's new in the modelling world? We don't have a lot to report, except I came across this new website. I was having a look at the what's the name of this page? Hyperscale, sorry. Hyperscale, and they mentioned in there what's new section, a new search page for illustration design for enthusiasts and practitioners of aviation history. And it's called Aviology. And that's pronounced spelt I should say, AVIALOGY. and just put a .com on the end and a www before that, or go to Hyperscale and have a look at their What's New section. But this is a great little page, actually. They've got decal sets that they're produced and photo etch sets that they're also producing. So if we just dive and have a quick look at that, and I'll bring it up. And the layout for the webpage is really beautiful. So they've got decals and docs, which is more than just a polybag full of decals and instructions. It talks about the sets include useful illustrated technical reference material as well. They're doing airframe stencil data, which is, I love doing stencils rather than decals. I reckon it's so much easier.
Yeah, I like stencils too.
And they're slowly building up a detailed section on colours and codes as well. So that looks really cool. The ones they've got done already by the looks of it, in stock and ready to ship, is the Royal Canadian Air Force Overseas Catalinas, the Eagle Squadron Spitfires, and the Royal Canadian Air Force... What's that? Canzo. What's a Canzo?
Not sure, but it says
It's got something to do with...
Catalinas?
Yeah.
What's
look at
what
the
scale are
of
those decals, Dave?
That's a very good question, Ian. And I'll just have to quickly go to the shop and have a look.
And see what scale they are.
It's not showing what the scale it is. Maybe if I just click on it and go up. Are you guys seeing the scale there?
It's like 48.
48, yep.
Okay. There you go. 48
Cool.
scale.
Very good.
48 scale Catalina.
Got one of them in the stash.
There you go. And we've got a big group of Canadians who actually listen to us, so I'm sure this is going to be very useful for them.
And put it in a coffee table.
Along with my 48 scale B29 and B24.
The house full of coffee tables.
Yeah.
It would be, yeah. It'd be a house full of coffee
The thing about Catalinas, right, is you could almost cut off the wings entirely because they make up so much of the plane, but they're just boards, you know? They're just square, flat boards.
What?
You ain't listening, were you?
What
Catalinas, right?
Yeah.
It's like all the interesting parts of the plane are very heavily structured around the fuselage, but the wings themselves are just big, huge, long
They've
boards.
got a beautiful wing shape.
They're planks.
No. As somebody who appreciates the aesthetic look of wings, Catalinas are up there.
Do you have a soft spot for Catalinas because they're partly a boat?
Yes and no. No, the
You don't fly them.
The Catalina's are awesome aircraft. I mean, they soldiered on way past the Second World War. They were used for water bombing operations in North America well into the 80s and 90s. And they were used for start-up airlines were using them. And the Australian Air Force used them to great effect. So did the RAF as well as the Royal Canadian Air Force as well.
I like them.
Yeah.
I just think that as a model, you could just cut the wings off and keep like 98% of the interesting parts about it.
You know, I've seen a Catalina butchered up to make a what-if aircraft, and it looks really hot. So it really lent itself to that. You know the one I'm talking about?
I do,
Ian?
yes.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Is that the one where they're using the wing on the Bronco?
Yeah, that's the one. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, very cool. Very
Yeah,
clever.
that's based off a short sci-fi animation movie that was made years ago.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Oh, I think the one called Cloudbusters or something.
That's the one, Dave.
Yes.
Yes.
I went back and had a look at that, and it's an awesome little short animation film.
And the guy who's building it's doing a really good job.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see it finished.
Excellent. All right, well, that's all we've got for What's New. So I think we'll take a very quick break and we'll be back with having a talk about what's going to be happening in the future of modelling. Back shortly. Okay, and we're back to have a chat about the future of modelling, but when we were kicking this can down the road, Ian suggested that perhaps we need to have a bit of a look at history first before we can look forward. You need to look back to know which way you're going. Is it the term?
Yeah, and a good talk about our experiences in the early days.
Absolutely. So let's see now. So the first plastic models were injection molded in cellulose acetate. Frog, penguin, and Varney trains were doing it, but currently,
And they all warp.
Yeah, they do.
After all these years, most of them are shaped like bananas.
So when did they first start injecting moulding model kits?
I think the earliest was
Would have been
around
the
40s, mid to late 40s.
Okay, I think we should go back further again, because there was a lot of modelers in during World War II period where you see them being interviewed and they'll produce a model kit that they made out in the field out of actual perspex.
Scratch building.
Yeah, scratch building out of metal or perspex.
Trench art.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So that's pretty much the first my understanding, the first generation of model kits.
Ancient Egypt. They used to do like models of the boats, the ceremonial boats, and have all the figures and everything. Usually all made out of gold.
Oh, the carving and
Precious
everything.
gems.
Yeah, and you'd carve, get a block of wood and carve something.
Yep. Yeah, people have been making things for many, many years, thousands of years. They've been making.
True, but in the modern era,
in the model when you're talking like mass production.
Yeah, mass production.
Oh,
really.
Yep.
So I guess really you're sort of looking at
Yeah, I mean...
Well, you look at the years ago, especially during the Second World War, they had all those recognition aircraft.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And
But they're all wooden though.
wooden, metal.
Yeah, they would have been metal as well. They would have been cast. Because they would have cast them.
Yeah, cast them. So you're looking, it goes back for many, many years.
Well, in fact, it's even the naval side of it too, because you had naval recognition stuff that was used back in World War One, and they used they used to have a case that would have lead ships that were cast lead ships, and they were used for recognition and also for training, and they would be 1 to 1/200th scale, I believe.
Well, and you look back even further when you look at the days of the sailing ships.
Oh, yeah,
before they made the full scale ship, they always got a modeler in and built the basically a bare bones version showing all the ribbing
Exactly.
and everything.
That's very true.
So it's a hobby that's been going around for a while.
Well, it has, but the modern era really kicked off with the arrival of plastics.
Correct, plastics,
And that's when it
Bakelite.
really came in.
Yeah.
Yes, in the
Vac form.
Or vac form as well, yeah. When did that come in? Vac form.
Well, vac form's been around for many years.
It must be because they did the canopies for aircraft, didn't they, in vac form? So at least since the 40s, 30s,
Yep.
30s and 40s.
Yep.
But they weren't really making models out of vac form, were they? To my knowledge.
Not too sure, mate. Some of the listeners would probably know.
Wikipedia is fairly silent on this subject.
Well, Wikipedia's never usually the one to go to for the proper information.
Well, they're saying here resin castings and vacuum forming are also used to produce models in particular parts with a scale. So they're talking about the modern era there. So they're saying, in particular, where parts where the scale production is not such as to support the investment required for injection moulding. And it goes on to talk about the different scales or well-established scales. So the scales that we're used to today. So aircraft mainly come in 1/24th scale, 1/32nd, 1/48, 1/72nd, 1/100, and 1/144. Oh, I've got to digress for a second. 1/144th scale. I've got another brainwave as to what I'm going to do with my bomber fleet now. I'm thinking, because with last episode we're talking about how big footprint aircraft make, and I was on this bent where I was going to build all the bombers in 1/72nd scale. At the last model club meeting I went to the other week, one of the guys brought in Chris Howes, brought in his little 1/144th scale Corsair, and it looked absolutely brilliant. I couldn't get over how good it looked.
Yeah, you were really into that.
I was. So I'm thinking,
It's a shame you missed seeing his Hellcat.
Yes, I heard it was
nice.
quite good.
Yeah, done a beautiful job on that.
I'm thinking, instead of building all these kits that I can't put anywhere because they're too big, maybe I should do it in 1/144 scale. And you get a lot more kits in that scale. Well, not a lot more kits. There's
a nice range. There is a definite range, yeah.
I can get a B-47 in that scale. You get a U-2, I think. Get B-52s.
U2's not a bomber.
TU-95 Bear.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Trumpeter.
That's a gorgeous one, that one.
Hmm.
So, But now the problem is I've already bought two kits in...
Who's going to make the I can never pronounce it.
Illyri?
No, Illyria Muramet, the big Russian bomber of the First World War.
I don't know.
Because you need one of them. If you're collecting bombers, you need a Muramet.
I don't think you do. Sounds weird enough that you could probably do without it.
Oh, they're a beautiful looking bomber.
But it's Italieri, so reason enough to stay away in my opinion.
No, it's not the brand. It's the company name that was actually.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I can never pronounce it properly.
It's a Russian name.
My Russian's terrible.
Right.
Dark on red.
Duh.
So I've now got 2 aircraft kits that I'm going to have to flog off because I'm not going to use them anymore.
Well, I'm not going to buy them.
Well, you haven't seen my 72 scale collection. I think you might start going back there again. Because I got some nice bombers in 72 scale.
Yeah, but I don't know. We were talking about this in where we were going to store them, and then I suddenly realised while we're doing the last episode that I bought these kits that I don't know how to display them afterwards.
We've got plenty of room in here.
Yeah, I know, in the studio, but again, we were talking about how we're going to hang them and all that sort of stuff, so they get dust and rah, and yeah. Anyway, I digressed.
Anyway,
I've come completely off subject. So
the history of modelling. Let's go back to it.
Yes.
So it's really the 40s that saw with the arrival of plastics and the modern injection techniques and mass production where things really kicked off. 47 as in the late 40s where Frog really kicked it off along with what was the other company I mentioned? Penguin, yep. I've never seen a Penguin kit.
Me neither. They'd be worth a fortune nowadays.
You reckon?
Yep. Even if they're bananas. People pay big money for those old kits.
And you're a bit of fan of you're a fan of the Frog kits, aren't you?
No, not really. I've got a few because they were given to me.
Well, that makes you a fan of Frog kits, Inc. You kept them.
I've been trying to flog them off. That's the thing. I haven't found anyone to buy them.
What scale?
Mostly 72nd.
Yeah.
There's a couple of ships in. There's a few Frog ships in there. Like I didn't even know Frog made ships until I got these.
Yeah.
And they're all like 1/600 scale or something, I think. Which was similar. Airfix did the 1/600 scale.
They still do.
Yep.
Stupid scale. But anyway.
So old kits. So what was the first kit you ever built, Dave?
It was an Airfix of some description. The old 170. No, in fact, I had the little the Scottish Highlanders in 176 scale.
Yeah. And how long ago was that? What year was that? Roughly.
Oh, God, here we go.
1970 something or other.
Yep.
I don't know. And it's funny, I've always associated plastic and modelling with coffee.
With coffee?
Yes, because when I first started collecting all the Airfix plastic soldiers.
Which were like rubber.
They weren't too bad.
Them.
They were rubber and you couldn't play with them because as soon as you picked them up, the paint would peel off them.
Yes, exactly right. So you never painted them.
No.
But I used to get them in, I used to store them in Nescafe jars. The coffee had been used out.
Yep.
And so the plastic took on the taint of coffee.
And the smell.
Yes. So ever since I've been a young tacker playing with all these sort of soldiers and playing war on the carpet in my bedroom, you get the waft of the coffee sort of coming up, and I've always associated modelling with coffee now. That's why I love having a coffee, although I've migrated to beers now. So,
so what about you, Julian?
My first kit, because my dad was a modeler. He I managed to convince him that I was old enough to play with that sort of stuff,
yep.
and so he bought me the Revell 148 scale P38J.
Was that the one that you had the 3 different versions?
Yeah. So you could do like the Night Fighter,
the
Droop Snoot, and the Fighter. Yeah.
And it came with the Richard Bong decals.
Richard Bong, is it? Yeah,
the big Marge on the side.
Yeah.
The photo of his wife.
Yep. That's right. Yeah. So that was the kit that we had, and we took it out into the garage, and he had like some old crappy plastic airbrush.
Mm-hmm.
We tried spraying that. It was crap, so we stripped it all off, and then I think he had like something like a Flowquill Silver or something like that.
Yep.
And we in an acrylic or something like that. I'm not sure.
I think
so
it was local, wasn't they? Back then,
I don't know. It was in a small
glass jar,
tan or white coloured plastic jar that had a plastic lid the same colour, right?
Yep.
It was. Yeah, I've never seen them since. So
that'd be probably the Flocal railway.
Yeah,
Paints.
it might well be.
yeah, maybe. Anyway, he had that as a silver because he had a bit of like sort of hodgepodge and like everything else was guns even back then. So when I got back
How
into
far back we
modelling,
talking?
Well, cut about 3 or 4 years. Isn't it, John?
I was about
Guns has been around since the 80s.
Yeah.
I was around 13, I think, at the time, roughly speaking, maybe 12. Hard to say. In any case, so we brushed this on, and it came up really nice.
Mm.
You know,
And you were
still-
proud. And
yeah,
look what I can do.
it was all good. We didn't put any lead in the nose, so the thing was something of a tail sitter, except it had that like the way the kit was molded. It had a little plastic stalk at the rear to hold the rear end up.
Mm.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I used to hate that thing
What
because you know you always worried it's going to break, right? And
Yeah.
then the thing's going to become a tail sitter.
Yeah.
It still hasn't broken though.
Oh, you still got it?
Yeah, I still got it.
So it's one kit you haven't thrown out yet.
I would love to throw out all the kits I made as a teenager, but
Your dad.
my
won't
old
let you.
my old dad my dad helped basically
He's
airbrush all of
proud
them.
of him.
Yeah, I know, and he wouldn't let me throw them out. I'd love to get rid of them.
Yeah.
What about you, Chris?
Now, my first kit was the Airfix 72 scale Harrier, and I got that in 74 from Santa, and my father pretty much built it for me, and played with it until it just broke apart. The first kit I painted, hand painted of course, with enamels, the Humbrol enamels, was the 72 scale Airfix Swordfish. And around about that time, I was building quite a few kits in 72 scale, aircraft, of course, a few tanks. The old little plastic bag kits from Revell.
I remember them,
You used to
yeah.
get them for about 80 cents, 90 cents
Yeah.
each.
And
And
paints were 20 cents a pot.
Yeah.
I wasn't even painting them. I was just putting the decals on them and
Yeah,
just playing with
yeah,
them. It was just
yeah.
good fun. Yeah.
Yep.
So, and I remember my first Matchbox kit, which was the tank. I had a tank, Panzerwagen, with on the desert sort of floor with the little
Panzer 3.
yeah, and that was a nice little kit. I enjoyed building that one.
Cool.
It's
Wow.
interesting how you never used paint on your first earlier models, right? See, my very first model was airbrushed.
Yeah,
It's
but
incredible.
I know.
But you had a father who used to do it.
Yeah, I know.
We didn't.
I know.
My father, till the day he died, hated it.
No.
Absolutely thought it was the biggest waste of money and waste of time. I couldn't speak to him about it because he'd just go on a tangent. Rah, 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 rah.
And he was a fisherman, and the amount of times he come back without any fish.
Fish, yeah, exactly.
Well, actually,
Exactly.
you just triggered a memory. My first model was actually a balsa wood one that my dad bought with a Spitfire.
the old balsa ones.
Nice.
And you got the tissue paper,
Yep,
and you had to get the dope, and put it over, which
Oh, that stank, that
Yeah.
stuff.
No.
Oh.
it smelled pretty darn good, I thought.
Between coffee and dope.
I know, jeez.
All the nasty stuff smells good to you when you're a kid, I reckon. You know? Like your car your dad pulls the car up into the petrol station and the smell of fuel comes in through the window and you're like, hey, that smells nice.
Okay.
Oh, moving along.
Well, my dad was a mechanic, so I don't know, maybe I was kind of used to it.
Brought up on the smell of fumes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's try and get back on track, guys. So we're actually supposed to be talking about the future of modelling. So I had a bit of a touchstone there back to the old days of modelling and how it's progressed forward. So
Oh yeah, look, I remember the day. I remember going with Chris to
Yeah.
Melbourne one day, and lo and behold, we went to Hearns Hobbies and Hasegawa kits,
yeah,
and that was what the 80s,
Yeah.
early 80s, and
81, 82.
we freaked out because hey, hang on, now we're getting kits with interiors. Before with the old Airfix ones, you had a pilot that you stuck onto a pin that was in the middle of the fuselage,
yep.
and all of a sudden, and it's engraved panel lines.
Mm.
and choices of paint
Decals,
schemes
yes,
and so forth.
rather than just paint it with the one scheme that the kit would come with. Now you had 2 or 3 different choices, and that was the heyday, the absolute heyday for us.
See, I came to modelling. I came back to modelling. So I started off modelling when I was young and a kid and everything, and then I got into wargaming, so I was doing a lot of the tabletop gaming, like Avalon Hill. Did a lot of games, and Panzer Leader and Squad Leader and Luftwaffe and all those sorts of games.
Here's a memory for you, Chris. Mustangs. Now, that was a good board game.
And then I moved away from the girls and all the rest of it. Rah, rah, and I didn't come back until modelling until about, 15 years ago. So I sort of missed... I came back and suddenly, boom, there's all these explosions of kits and stuff. I'm going, wow, what?
Yeah.
And the detail.
Yes.
Was just blown your mind.
I couldn't believe it. And the range of the aftermarket stuff that was available.
Yes.
It just blew my little circuits. I just couldn't believe it.
Yep.
I'm always been interested in.
Whereas you guys
Russian.
were actually in it the whole time, so you actually watched it progress. through it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even then we were caught out with surprises. Stuff that came out of the surprises. Like, I remember the first time ever using a photo etch set.
Yeah.
An old Monogram P40B. Got the old, I think it was a True Detail set. And that was like a giant leap in my modelling from going to just roughing it out and getting a pretty crappy finish to all of a sudden, oh, hang on, I've got a fully detailed interior, complete with a map case.
Yeah, wow.
And it just totally blew my mind. And I went to town with that kit. I've still got it. That's one kit I'll never get rid of.
Yeah.
Regardless how bad it looks nowadays.
That was the next step of your modelling evolution, because before then you was always building models out of box, putting the decals on it from out of box, and painting it just basically as per the instructions. But when that came along, you went into the research of it.
Yep.
And found out the wings weren't attached till later, and then the Randell had the wing going halfway through it, and things
it
like
has a bit
that.
chopped off at the bottom of the Randell, and
So it was
crazy.
really it was a groundbreaking.
Drilled
kit for
out the exhaust pipes. So I just went nuts.
It's interesting because that first kit, that P38 that I had a, if you know the kit, it has like an open gun bay.
Yes, I remember that. Yep.
Right. So when I started, that was, I mean, that said, I know now in hindsight that the P38 was actually like their sort of like a Rolls Royce of kits. Like they really put a lot more effort into that kit than they had previously. But still, I mean, my first encounter in modelling already had, interior details, so to speak.
Yeah, I remember one big jump for me was I think it was the old Revell, might have been 150 scale AH Sky Raider, because the wings could fold and unfold, the undercarriage could come up, and the dive brakes could open and close, and
see now
I made a mess of it.
See, I've got something to add to that as well, right? One of the kits that I got when I was a kid was a second-hand kit that was being sold at the local hobby shop, and it was a Rebel kit from I think the 60s or the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Really old, really old. Like it smelled like old cardboard from and it had nothing as far as a cockpit goes, nothing. But it had folding wings, and it was a Hellcat.
Yep.
Right, so it has that weird articulating thing where you sort of sort of pop them out of their regular, wings up kind of thing, and then they rotate and fold back.
Correct.
Nice.
Yes.
Right, and the landing gear also folded up into the wheel wells.
Ooh.
But that's all it could do. It had no detail anywhere.
It was just one of those gimmick kits.
Yeah, and because I didn't know about aftermarket details, I just
Built it as okay.
well, I mean aftermarket decals. Sorry, I just used the decals that were in it, and they worked, which was a bit of a risk now that I think about it.
Yeah, considering the age.
30-year-old decals, and they worked.
Yeah, you got lucky there.
Yeah,
mate. Definitely lucky, but yeah. So there, that brings us up to where it's heading, and the way it's heading,
It is, but there's still a little bit thing we sort of haven't really touched on, and that's I think really the markets in China, which has really had a huge influence in recent years.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the actual model companies that have come out of China or exploded out of China, I'd have to say, but also the manufacturing base in China too, because you can just jump on the internet now and you can send a CAD drawing across to China if you get it halfway decent doing a CAD drawing. And for relatively few dollars, you can have your own production company up and running, producing models.
Yep.
Now, there's a couple of local guys that come to mind when I think about this. There's Horizon Models that do the rockets that we had on They do the Mercury and the Atlas rockets from the early.
I think Southern Cross also do that as well. They
Yeah.
do the, I think it's that Audi or Mercedes in the 120 scale.
Yep,
It's a
and
stunning kit.
and of course we have the HMS Collins, which was built by
Showcase models.
Showcase Models.
Yes, and the Vendetta and the, what else? The Bushmaster.
And, you know, Showcase Models were just a model shop and decided under the stewardship of, I've forgotten his name. Who was used to run Showcase
John.
Model? John, yeah.
John
Ziglardi.
Yeah, who's sadly departed now. Under his stewardship, he wanted to actually produce these particular kits for enjoyment, not only himself, but other people as well. And went off and did it.
Mm-hmm. It's still a big outlay.
It's still a big outlay, but
Because you got to pay for your moulds.
Yes, but it's an outlay that is not out of bounds crazy to where it was even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that cheap now. You can sort of, and you don't necessarily have to sort of be in touch. You can send all the details just across the internet. This is what I want. They'll do it for you. They send back the test shots. You check it, build it. Yeah, okay, it works here. It doesn't work here. And off you go.
Yep.
Well, the thing is here, with the future of modelling, it's all about computers. Everything in the modelling area has been touched by computers, like the box art that's designed on computers, the decals. It's designed. All the artwork's designed on the computer. It's transferred over to the print, and then they print them.
Yep.
And then it goes into the moulding itself because it's all digitized, and then the actual moulds themselves are made out by computers as well. So that's the future of modelling is computers, because where we are right now is they've touched every part of modelling. When you pick up a brand new kit now, every part of that kit has been touched by a computer in some shape or form. Yes, the only thing that I could sort of see is that's still done by hand is sometimes the box art, but even that's sometimes done on computers as well.
I think in the area of figures, that's still the old art forms. That's where you'll do your wax sort of sculpture. And then you'll do a use that as your
template.
Thank you, Ian. The template is the word I'm looking for. So certainly in that area, that's still done the old-fashioned way.
That'll be taken over as well.
Yeah, quite possibly. And you still got your small cottage industries guys who are doing it, although that's moving away to Shapeways now.
The stuff you can get at Shapeways is incredible.
Absolutely.
Especially if you're a shipbuilder, there's so much stuff.
Well, not just shipbuilder. I mean, if you're a sci-fi builder as well, the amount of stuff you can get as add-ons for, you know, your Death Star and your Star Destroyers and all that sort of stuff.
And you can get Planet Express ships.
You get what?
Planet Express ships
Planet Express ships
from Futurama.
Oh, can you?
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
No, I saw somewhere online that they also make the Rocketante, the ship from The Expanse.
Oh, I'm surprised you haven't got one yet.
Yeah. Well, actually, I found out as well. There's a company, some sci-fi company. I can't remember the name of them, but they'd actually do an injection molded kit, but it's very pricey. But I'll get one eventually.
Of course you will.
I
So
can't help myself.
with the computers, though, it's getting to the stage now where you can actually have it on your own desktop. I mean, we had Troy in a couple of episodes ago talking about his stencil cutter and how he can do all his
that's amazing
own stuff there. You've got your 3D printers you can have on your desktop now. So if you have half a brain, I guess you can sort of run that and print out a little cast or a little model that you can use to sort of fix up and add on.
And yeah, I can see them in the future. I can see probably 10, 15 years from now. You want to buy a kit, so you go to the company website and you download the kit and it prints it out for you on the sprues, just to make it or off the sprues,
or print it at home.
And you just print it at home.
Yep.
The thing about this is that in order for people to make the 3D models that all this is based on, it's almost like a secondary hobby, right? It's almost it's like the figure painters who are really into painting figures, and they're like, you know what, the stuff that I want to paint doesn't exist, and that's how they get into sculpting, right? But then they become almost like multidisciplinary modelers, which is another level of sort of it's like second level modeling, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is
definitely.
But I'm just thinking what the rabbit you were chasing down the hole a second ago, Ian, where you said, you know, you just go off and you order your model and you go to the printers and pick it up. Or if not, you even have your own printer at home and
By
you
that
just
time,
download it.
by that time, basically everyone will have a.
I mean, it's like I don't buy CDs anymore because I've got iTunes and I pay, a couple of bucks a month and I've got the full access to their full catalogue. So wherever I go, I've got all the albums that I ever need, music.
And if that goes ahead, like I was saying, a lot of episodes ago, where with the nail polish industry, they've now developed that airbrush for the nail polishes where it mixes the paint. You got a computer program
that's right.
that mixes the paint.
Yes.
And if the big manufacturers like Tamiya and Guns and a couple of other big paint manufacturers, they can get on there. Well, you just got to buy a few litres of the main primary colours plus black and white.
Yep.
And some metallic flake.
Yep.
And all you need to do then is just go online. Oh, I need building this kit 109, or I need RLM 75, 76, and 78.
Yep.
And you just download them colours. It may cost you a lot more than buying a pot of paint, but you've already got that program. So you can, from that day onwards, you've got that paint on hand.
See, from a manufacturing point of view, why would you, if you're a paint manufacturer, for example, if you could just sell the license for your particular paint chip to a million people for $1, rather than having this, and it doesn't cost you anything to do that. You got no overheads or anything like that. Rather than spending $500,000 to make another $500,000, it's
financially viable for
exactly
them.
right.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even need to be a paint manufacturer. You could just be a bloke who's just done the worked out the paint
coding.
colours.
Yeah, the coding. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can sell it out.
Yep.
But the only problem is once you've sold out the rights to that particular colour to that individual, that person could then share it online and so forth.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
We're living in interesting times.
We are, and it's going to get more interesting.
Well, it is, especially, it's 3D printing is not only in plastic. I mean, they're really starting to perfect it in metal as well now.
Yeah.
So there'll be, into the future, you'll be able to do your own metal printing for things like your struts for aircraft and that type of stuff.
Photo etch.
Oh, photo etch, yes. Although you can do photo etch at home now yourself.
Yeah.
If you can be bothered.
Yeah.
Actually, I've worked a photo etch machine.
Have
and
you
they're
really?
not very big, yeah, because you use the same sort of machine for
circuit boards
for printing.
Yeah.
Because I've been around printing for a long time and pretty much done most forms of printing. And the old letterpress machines used to make the prints off that. And
okay.
Like the rubber prints and so forth. But it's the same sort of process.
Mm.
You put it in a bath and wash it off and all that. But the box that we had with the little lamps in it was actually quite small and easy to make for an electrician or just a backyard engineer could make one of those and you could just do it yourself. Very, very easy.
Well, the easiest thing you make up yourself is a vacuum forming machine. I mean, that's dead easy to make up.
Yep.
It doesn't take, just as long as you've got a vacuum cleaner, you're off and running almost.
I do plunge moulding. So
You do plunge? What's plunge moulding?
Right, what you do is you get the canopy. Well, usually I do it for canopies, and you put your canopy that's damaged or whatever. Put some blue tack behind it so it's nice and firm. Put a pencil into it really hard. Melt some plastic card, clear preferably, and over the stove. Get it nice and warm. Watch it droop, and then stick it onto your canopy and pull it down. So it is hit and miss, but it works. Yeah.
There you go. I can't see it being the future of modelling.
It's definitely not the future of modelling, no. But it is hit and miss, but it does work. I've done quite a few canopies like that. Yeah.
Even the modelling companies, the range of products they're offering now and the areas they're going off into. I mean, paper panzers that they're that a lot of the companies are building, like Meng and I can't think of the other one off the top of my head now.
Amusing Hobby.
Amusing Hobby, yeah. They're the big one into paper panzers. There's a new computer game or series coming out called Fist of War, which is set like steampunk World War One, just past World War One. Models from that are slowly sort of coming out, and just the range and variety that is open to us now in comparison to when we were growing
30
up.
years ago, yeah.
I mean, I used to religiously get the Airfix catalogue, and that'd be my thing. And I'd turn the pages so often during the year that the catalogue would almost fall apart. And
all the old
to come
Tamiya
across
catalogue.
the Holy Grail of Holy Grails, which was a Tamiya catalogue.
Oh yeah.
And, you know,
drool.
and I mean, that was what, maybe 30 pages of models. And now look what you've got available to
Oh,
you.
yeah. And it's not just that. Look at the tools available now compared to
That's a
back then.
very good point. We haven't even touched on tools. yet.
Tools. Like
Yeah.
this new company, Display, the stuff they're bringing out is just amazing.
Yeah,
I've-
absolutely.
I've got so many of their tools now. It's just, and I use them regularly.
Well engineered stuff too.
They should sponsor you, really.
Yeah. So if you're listening,
Have your mug up on their on their website
yep.
with a thumbs up.
Thumbs up, double thumbs up, double thumb. Like they're super glue applicator. I swear, guys. It's if you're using like photo etch, you got to get one of these things. It's the bee's knees.
We actually had one of our listeners send me an email asking me about the details of that, which I sent on to him.
Yep.
So he was wrapped.
Yeah. Oh, they're brilliant.
I've got to get one. Still haven't got one yet.
Yeah, I've got their pin vise on order too.
How much did the glue applicator one cost? Super glue applicator.
I think it was about 28-30 Australian dollars.
No, gee, I've got to get one.
It was a lot smaller when I saw it in person. than
I'll
I
tell
thought
you,
smaller.
well, it doesn't need to be big.
No.
No, it doesn't. But when you see photos of it, you're like, oh, that's got to be like at least the size of your fist. But it's not. It's quite
tiny.
small.
Yeah. I even went as far as ordered their glue pot holder.
Yeah, yeah. You may as well collect the whole family.
Yep.
Well, it's funny.
course.
I was looking at that the other week, and I thought I've never spilt glue. And then at that same time, I knocked it and nearly went over. And I thought, oh,
Yep.
that's the modelling God's
That's
telling
what
me
you
I'm going to go
need,
spend
yeah.
more money.
Too true. Too true. Like I was saying before, like when we grew up, with the tools we used when we grew
Yeah,
up. What did we have? The hairy stick.
Stanley knife.
Yeah,
It was Stanley knife blade. That was
Yes,
pretty much
old
it.
Stanley
And
knife
mum's
blade.
scissors to cut the kit off the sprue.
Yes.
Yep. Didn't
Yeah.
worry about filing the edges or anything. You had
No.
little sticky bits sticking out
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And nowadays we've got airbrushes, we've got specialist files, we've got our Dremel tools.
I love my Dremel.
We've got everything.
Yep.
It's just we're living in the heyday, and it's going to get better. It's going to get so much better. It's exciting times ahead.
Absolutely.
Discussed last episode with Wingnut Wings and how they're going to basically be forcing a lot of other companies to lift their game with the especially the external details on aircraft. And
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
See, I wonder about that. See, I reckon they'll force some companies to lift their game. Companies that are sort of invested in being of high quality,
Yes.
they'll have to lift their game. But other companies that occupy the lower ends of the spectrum will stay exactly where they are.
yeah, like the trumpeters
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so
Then
forth.
the trumpeter doesn't need to do anything. They know
But
that.
Trumpeter is they have flashes of brilliance in their model making.
Yeah, they make good kits, but they don't
Yeah.
make brilliant kits, right? They don't need to. That's not their thing.
Well,
Their business model
if it
is
looks
we're
like
going to
it-
have the most kits. We're going to cover the most subjects of anything out there.
yeah.
That's what Trumpeter do.
And depending which team's working on the kit is depending on what quality.
Whether you get the Friday afternoon team, it's
Oh, the
against
A, B, or the C team. Because I can tell you what, when it came to that USS England, it was the D team.
And then you got Kitty Hawk, who I like to loathe, and they make what I think is kind of poor quality kits, but they make kits that people want,
Yeah, but the issue
and
with
no
Kitty
one else
Hawk is
makes them.
and I've had a lot of people sort of pay out on them, and I've seen what their supposed issues are. It's just that they're, I think, not inexperienced. Well, maybe inexperienced perhaps, but they just don't consider like where the mold line's going to go for when you're putting the kit together. I mean,
Yeah, they're just not engineered correctly.
Yeah.
Don't Kitty Hawk make a nice helicopter?
they do.
I've heard their helicopters are a bit better on average than their planes.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, their Huey was terrible looking. Terrible.
What, shape or just...
Oh yeah, it's got like these panels on the rear quarters of the fuselage,
Yep.
and they made them way too thick and bulky looking. I mean they're panel lines, so they should be like
But that's
quite,
coming back to what Chris said. That's an engineering issue rather than anything else.
well, engineering in what sense? Are you talking about like the way it looks or the way it goes together?
Yeah,
Well,
the way
the
it
way-
goes together. That's
Yeah.
engineering. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this isn't how it goes together. This is just how it looks.
Yeah, but how it looks also comes down to the engineering as well. There's not enough.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's all engineering, but there are two different sort of aspects to it, right?
Well, there's the fit engineering and the look
Well, having built some of their kits, right?
Yep.
I know for a fact that one issue that they always seem to have is they will break up the fuselage into multiple pieces.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I don't know why that is. Maybe it's the plastic they're using, and maybe it just means that if they make their fuselage pieces too big, they suffer too many sink marks or warping or something like that.
No, it wouldn't be a plastic.
I mean, because I built their AH, was it 1Z Viper chopper, and they separated the fuselage into two pieces. For that, it doesn't need to be.
What scale was that?
48.
Yeah, they shouldn't have to.
No, they shouldn't have to at all.
No, we look what Wingnuts is doing with their and HK were doing with their bombers. Like they're one-piece fuselages, and they're quite large.
Yeah, they're huge.
It seems this thing that's
models,
crept in that where some modelling companies for some reason thought the more parts the better the model, and it's not necessarily the case.
No, because even
I always find the over-engineered kits are always dragging.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
Dragon.
Meng have been criticised for this as well. But it's not like they have two-piece hulls.
No,
They have one-piece hulls.
wasn't it their Sukhoi or something was in 3 pieces for the fuselage?
I think it was 7.
7 pieces for the fuselage. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And then...
And a lot of people really complained about that because apparently it just did not go together very well at all.
Yeah. And then Trump had brought one out not long after, I believe.
Which probably fit a lot better.
Yeah.
It was a little bit better, to my understanding, but not that much better.
Well, I mean, I think the differences were sort of like one went together better than the other, and the other one had maybe a little bit more detail in some places the other one didn't.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Which is always the case.
But coming back round to what Ian said, where he said that Wingnut Wings is because they've lifted the bar, other companies will follow.
Yes,
and some will.
So companies,
and you're saying no, not necessarily. And the ones already playing down in the weeds, won't necessarily do that.
Yeah, because they occupy a specific portion of it. They know what their customers are like. They're the customers that go, oh, why do I need the high-end one when I can get this one? It certainly looks like the thing, so that's good enough for me.
Well, that's right. There's those modelers out there that just build for the sake of building, and they'll just build it because it's there.
Yeah,
They don't worry about how accurate or how highly detailed it is.
Exactly.
Because for them, it's, I think we discussed last thing, it's the journey. It's the journey of actually producing this thing and having it finished.
Well, I know some who aren't even about the journey. They're sort of like, I want a visual representation of this plane that I like up on my shelf.
Yep.
And they don't care about the panel lines. They don't care about small shape issues. They just want a visual representation.
Yes. Oh, that's what I didn't mention in what's new. There's apparently a new 32 scale P40B coming out. And I can't remember who it's doing it, but it's from one of the really good manufacturers.
And
I'm really excited.
You've just twigged my memory. Somebody's supposed to be doing an SR 71, 72, 71.
Oh, that's
might
good.
be Hong Kong models, I think, or something like that. I don't know. It flashed across my screen a couple of days ago, and I thought, I've got to do a bit more research before the show, and I haven't done the research yet, so... Don't know what scale. Maybe 1/32 scale.
That'd be huge.
It would be huge.
Well, I mean, back to the future of modelling.
Welcome to the world of tomorrow.
So, yeah, obviously, Wingnut Wings has really lifted the game quite a bit. Yeah. But if you look at Tamiya, their flagship 32nd scale series of warbirds, they just keep getting better and better.
Yep.
Between the Corsair, which had rubber wheels, rubber tires, and then after that they had the Mosquito, which had those, I think it was like 10 or so pieces for the actual wheels.
Tread actually,
so it was like
tread onto the tire.
It was like 2 rings for the core of the tire, right? So it was like 2 halves that came together, and then you had little pieces for the tread pattern that went all the way around to properly replicate the tread pattern.
That sounds like too much.
Well, actually, it does, but from the representation, it worked.
The thing about Tamiya is they engineer kits so nicely.
Yeah.
So when they do something, it might sound a little bit crazy, but when you actually put it together, it's like, oh, that's
Makes
so
sense.
easy.
Yep.
That's nice.
And Zuko Mura is another company that does that. They well engineer their kits, and from what I've read, I haven't built one of their kits. They go together extremely well as well.
And so detailed that
Yep.
half the stuff you never see.
So moving forward, looking into the future, we're going to be seeing more super detailed kits coming out in the future.
Yes.
Is that what the market's demanding?
That's what it is.
Because again, actually, it was a good thought. It's actually the market that's demanding.
Yep.
It's not these companies going, oh, you know what, we're going to risk $100,000 on all the research and development of this particular model for it just to sort of fall flat in its face. They're going to test the market and see what the market sort of wants.
Well, that's exactly it. Test. And we're still going through the testing period because there's quite like a fashion right now for armor kits that have interiors, right? And while some kits definitely lend itself to that's a great idea, like for example the Bradley that I built from Meng, right? Because it's got that great big hatch on the back. You can look through and you can see everything. That's fine. But there are some like more main battle tanks. They're turtles, right? They're designed to be completely enclosed with very small holes because those are weak points in the armor. You're not going to be able to necessarily see most of that detail. So I wonder how well in the long run those will sell. And I wonder if we'll see the market move away from that a little bit over time.
Because you'll find some modelers will look at interiors and tanks and just won't build it. Others will embrace it.
Yes.
And some will just go, oh, it's just too many parts.
Yeah. But if you're a new company, you've got to find your niche somehow, right? Companies like Zuke Mirror, they sort of stake their reputation on the whole plane with the full interior, all the wing spars and everything.
Yeah.
Right? But they've got to make a name for themselves somehow. If they're just another company that just makes kits like everyone else, then they're never going to go anywhere.
Very interesting.
Yeah, well, basically, competition will improve the breed as well. So when you've got, like we're going back to the wingnut wings, the other model manufacturers will see that and go, well, that's the new bar. Let's start looking at that. So
we can hope
competition will improve.
We can hope. Yeah, it definitely is. There's just so much coming out, and
because a couple of years ago, I was getting a little bit disappointed in Airfix because they were re-releasing their
stuff
old
from
kits,
the 50s and 60s.
And it was just so disappointing because I knew what was inside that box, and their box art was fantastic.
Yes.
They were everywhere for sale.
You get sucked
People
in.
can get their hands on them, and it's really not good for modelling.
Yep.
Because they'd open it up, a new modeler would open something like that up and go, oh, right, well, that's what modelling is. And now I see Airfix, I understand why, because they were struggling, and now they've been taken over, of course, and now they're releasing new kits. The Tiger Moth is a perfect example in 72 scale, because they had an old Tiger Moth in the old moulding. Now they've got a new one. It's stunning. It's beautiful.
Yeah, you were saying about
And
the
they're
walrus,
redoing
weren't
this.
you?
Oh,
Ian?
the Supermarine Walrus is a joy, and you look at the way they've improved their instructions is very. It's almost like a wingnut wings instruction book.
And the Wellington, they've new Wellington's coming out or is out now. That's supposed to be gorgeous.
Yep. So they've learnt their lesson.
I wouldn't say they've completely learnt their lesson because in the one place that really irks me is their starter kits. You know, the ones that they have in supermarkets for new people to pick up. That's where they put their old kits.
Yep.
And that's still where, you know, like
it's
you
disappointed
said,
for a new modelling.
Yeah.
for
They should put new kits in those boxes.
Yeah, easy to build.
Yeah,
nice and detailed. Well, not incredibly detailed, but easy to build. Detailed enough. Looks great.
That's where I reckon Hobby Boss has got it in the bag.
Yeah.
Their 72 scale aircraft range, minimum parts, beautifully recessed panel lines, nice looking aircraft, and any kid would just go, oh, easily built. The hardest part's going to be painting it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everything else is like you usually have one piece wings, one piece fuselage. A kid starting off in modelling is just going to go, oh yeah, this is the bee's knees. I can do this. From then on, then they can progress to the more difficult kits.
Yeah, Hobby Boss is a very underrated brand.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd have to second that.
Well, see, as long as we're on the beginner modeler sort of track.
Which we're not really. We're talking about the future of modelling. But anyway.
But the future of modelling includes...
You're right, okay.
The children are our future, Dave.
Yes.
So I've been to Model Expo quite a few years now, and they have a little table set up in the corner for the little kids to build kits on. And if you notice, they're always building the Gundams.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we've
Yes.
spoken in the past about Gundams and how well, and I'll say it again, engineered they are. They click together, and they're just gorgeous little kits.
And they're in the right colours that they're supposed to.
Absolutely,
supposed
you
to
don't
be
have
in.
to even paint them. They're just you just take them out of the box and clip them out and off the sprues, click them together, and bingo.
Yep. But and there's also the Warhammer community. They like Warhammer's going gangbusters right now, I reckon. They're selling a lot. I mean, they've always made a lot of money, haven't they? But
They've been
stuff's
overpriced,
stupidly
though.
priced, yeah.
But anyway.
yeah, but people get into them because
Oh, absolutely.
you know.
'Cause it's got a real, hook.
It's good fun. Yeah, it's good fun.
So parents, if you want to make sure your kids never do drugs, get them into Warhammer. They'll never have money for anything else.
That's Megan's tip for the
So they'll
night.
grow up to be adults where they're begging on street corners. Oh, I just need a little pot of pot of silver. Please, can you throw me some coins?
Throw me a dime.
Actually, my two children went to Expo once, and they weren't too interested in going, of course, because I was going with Dad, and it's pretty boring. But they got in the corner and started building some of those Gundams, and they loved them. Yeah, they
Yeah.
thought it was great fun.
Yeah, I bet they did.
I still remember your son turning up to and going, "Oh, models." It makes me laugh every time I think
Still
about
not converted yet, is he?
it.
That's fine.
Get him some dinosaur models, mate. He'll be right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an issue because there's not really good dinosaur models out there unless you're getting Horizon.
I don't think is Horizon still around?
I don't know.
Because I had 2 Horizon dinosaurs in my younger years. I had a T-Rex and a Stegosaurus.
Yeah, I've never been into dinosaurs, so I wouldn't know.
Actually, I got a couple of Papo toy. They're like a toy kit type of thing, and they're beautifully done. They really are. Why would you want to do modelling when you get those in one piece? They really
And you go online, you look at some of the dinosaur model kits available now, and they're museum quality. They're absolutely fantastic.
Oh, don't you have one? You've got one that was done by
Green Models.
Yes.
Yes, it's an Allosaurus attacking a couple of Apatosauruses or Brachiosaurs, and the mother's on its hind legs. It's quite a large thing.
What
All
about the
resin.
one that sits on your computer?
Yeah, that I got from Shapeways. This little Caleophysis that's designed to just sits on the top of your monitor. And that was printed from Shapeways. And you look at this thing and you think, oh, Shapeways printing is going to have all these lines in that.
It's
No.
beautiful.
This thing is, and it's all hollow, so it's as light as a feather. And one day I'll get around to painting it.
You just got to paint it. You don't have to clean it up.
No,
you just have to paint it.
Just paint it and stick it somewhere.
Yep. So there you go. It's 3D printed.
Yeah.
The future of modelling.
Modelling.
I think, and that on that, we're at the top of the hour now, so
we?
that pretty much rounds us out, I think, unless you guys got anything else you want to add to the future of modelling.
Buy some kits when you're overseas, Dave.
I will, but the thing is, having to get them back again, so...
I don't think there's a point to buying kits overseas, is there?
Well,
you might
I'm just
find
thinking
some-
about what Kevin said about us. He was surprised we'd never heard of that brand of...
Well, unless you go
Kit
into like
manufacturer.
Russia and you're buying like weird Eastern Bloc things that we haven't
I'm
heard
going to
of.
weird places like Toronto, so
that's so
and New
weird.
York and Paris.
Worker
so,
and Parasite brand.
Yeah, Worker and I was thinking of that, Worker and Parasite. What the hell was that?
we'll see. We'll see. I think I've got a horrible feeling that I'm going to be absolutely broke by the time I get back.
Yep.
But anyway,
So you'll be taking plenty of happy snaps to put on the Facebook page.
of probably some of the museums I'm going to, because I'm going to be going to Musée de l'Armée in Paris.
Yes.
When I'm in New York, I'll be going to the USS Intrepid, because I haven't been to that one yet. Stopping off at Hawaii on the way home to have a bit of a rest, so I'll definitely be popping in again to the Pearl Harbor Museum down there.
What about Canada?
I'm in Toronto, so I'll have to do a bit of research and see what sort of models are around, or what museums are around in
There'll be
Toronto.
something around.
Yeah, I'll probably go to all the tourist spots and everything. I'll go to
Yep.
Niagara Falls and all that sort of stuff.
Catch
and
a hockey game.
apparently there's no. Sister-in-law's got us set up to go to some really, because it's Halloween over there when I land in Toronto.
Oh,
so
really?
they've got us set up to go to this really spooky house or something. So
Spooky.
I think I'm going to be on have a couple of beers before I go. Apparently, just to make it even more fun. Anyway,
Try that Canadian brew, hey?
eh?
Hey?
What's that about?
The Canadian brew.
What's that all about?
They make a good whiskey.
Oh, yeah. Actually, no, I was over in... the last time I was in Toronto was for emergency services, marine rescue games, and the local Canadian boys won their particular sort of class. And we ended up in some pub in downtown Toronto smoking cigars and drinking God knows what. And the next day, I was just an absolute wreck. Those boys know how to party.
Oh, they
There's
do.
no
From what I
two
heard,
ways
they do,
about
yeah.
that.
Yep.
They know how to party over there in Canada.
That's what
so
you want.
it is. I'm really looking forward to getting back over there. So,
Yep.
Anywho,
Too true.
I'll tell you all the stories when I get back.
We'll be looking forward to them.
Yeah.
When you
well.
take your photos, just
Yes.
remember we're modelers here. We want to see the inside of things, not necessarily the outside.
Yeah, we want walkarounds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Done deal.
Yep.
I'll do all
Totally
that.
agree.
All right, Ian. Any closing words?
Bon voyage, Dave. Have a blast.
Yep. Julian,
Not really, nah. Not this time. I'm fresh out.
from our guest Chris.
Thanks today for inviting me, and good luck for your trip.
No worries. Thanks very much.
Great time.
All right, guys. So I will catch you all in a fortnight. The next episode after this one will be about 3 or 4 days late because I don't get back in the country in time for us to do the next episode. So the episode 37, I think it is, will actually be dropped on the Saturday when I get back. So
We'll be able to hear Dave all jet lagged.
something like that. All right, guys.
Easy pickings.
I'll catch us all later.
Bye.
Bye.